Racist manager insults waitress. Ronaldo teaches him a lesson he won't forget. How will this story escalate? To find out, watch the video to the end. But first, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to get more stories like this. In the heart of the city, nestled among towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, stood an exclusive fine dining restaurant known for its exquisite cuisine and impeccable service. The establishment catered to the wealthy and powerful, those who demanded nothing but the best. Among the staff was Anna, a hardworking waitress who took pride in her job and treated every guest with kindness and respect, regardless of their status. Despite her dedication and unwavering commitment to excellence, Anna faced constant belittlement and mistreatment from her manager, Mr. Lambert. He firmly believed that a person's worth was determined by their wealth and social standing, and he made no effort to hide his disdain for those he considered beneath him. Mr. Lambert showered the restaurant's rich and influential patrons with excessive courtesy, going above and beyond to ensure their every whim was satisfied. However, when it came to employees like Anna, who was an immigrant working tirelessly to make ends meet, he treated them as if they were undeserving of even the most basic respect. One evening, as the restaurant buzzed with activity, a soft-spoken man entered the establishment. He was dressed casually in a hoodie and sneakers, a stark contrast to the designer suits and elegant dresses worn by the other diners. Mr. Lambert barely acknowledged the man's presence, assuming he was not worth his time or attention. Anna, ever the professional, approached the man with a warm smile, ready to take his order and provide him with the same exceptional service she offered to all guests. However, before she could even greet him, Mr. Lambert sneered and stepped in, his voice dripping with contempt. "Why are you wasting your time with him?" he said, loud enough for nearby diners to hear. "This place is for important people, not guys like him." The room fell silent, and Anna felt her face flush with embarrassment. She knew that Mr. Lambert's behavior was unacceptable, but she also knew that speaking out against him could jeopardize her job. The man, however, remained calm, nodding at Anna kindly, as if to reassure her that she had done nothing wrong. What Mr. Lambert failed to realize, in his ignorance and arrogance, was that the man he had just insulted was none other than Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest footballers of all time. A living legend, admired by millions around the world not just for his incredible skill on the pitch, but for his humility and generosity off it. As the truth dawned on the other staff members and diners, whispers began to circulate throughout the restaurant. A waiter, eyes wide with panic, rushed to Mr. Lambert's side, urgently whispering in his ear. Mr. Lambert's face turned ghostly pale as the realization hit him like a ton of bricks. "And Mr. Ronaldo," he stammered, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and embarrassment. "I didn't know it was you. Please allow me to personally serve you. I'll ensure that your dining experience is nothing short of exceptional." But Ronaldo simply shook his head calmly, his expression one of quiet determination. "No, thank you," he said, his voice firm but polite. "I'd rather be served by someone who treats people with respect, regardless of their perceived status." The restaurant erupted into murmurs, as diners and staff alike watched the scene unfold with a mixture of disbelief and admiration. Mr. Lambert stood there, humiliated and exposed, his true colors laid bare for all to see. Anna, her heart racing, felt a surge of gratitude and respect for the man who had chosen to stand up for her, a humble waitress, in the face of her manager's cruelty. She knew that this moment would forever change the course of her life, and she silently vowed to never forget the kindness and empathy shown to her by one of the world's greatest athletes. As the evening progressed, Anna attended to Ronaldo's table with the utmost professionalism and care. She ensured that his every need was met, from refilling his water glass to offering recommendations from menu. Throughout the meal, Ronaldo engaged her in conversation, asking about her life and experiences. Anna found herself opening up to him, sharing her story of immigrating to the country in search of a better life. She told him about the challenges she faced, the long hours she worked to support her family, and the constant mistreatment she endured from Mr. Lambert. Ronaldo listened attentively, his eyes filled with empathy and understanding. He knew all too well the struggles of those who had to fight for every opportunity, having himself risen from humble beginnings to become one of the most successful and beloved athletes in the world. As the evening drew to a close, Ronaldo asked for the check. Anna presented it to him with a smile, grateful for the kindness and respect he had shown her throughout the night. But nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. When Ronaldo handed the check back to her, Anna's eyes widened in disbelief. There on the tip line was a figure that took her breath away: $10,000. It was more money than she had ever seen in her life, let alone received as a tip. "Mr. Ronaldo, this is too much," she stammered, her hand shaking as she held the check. "I can't accept this." But Ronaldo simply smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "You deserve it, Anna," he said softly. "You work hard and treat everyone with kindness, even in the face of adversity. Use this money to quit this toxic job and start fresh. You have the power to create a better life for yourself and your family." Tears streamed down Anna's face as the reality of his words sank in. With this money, she could finally leave the restaurant and the constant mistreatment she faced from Mr. Lambert. She could find a job where she was truly valued and respected, and she could provide a better future for her loved ones. As Ronaldo stood to leave, he turned back to Mr. Lambert, who had been watching the exchange with a mixture of shock and anger. "Respect isn't about who has money," Ronaldo said, his voice calm but firm. "It's about how you treat people, especially those who work hard every day to make an honest living. Remember that, Mr. Lambert." With those parting words, Ronaldo exited the restaurant, leaving behind a stunned silence in his wake. Anna clutched the check to her chest, her heart filled with a newfound sense of hope and determination. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but she also knew that she had been given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change her life for the better. And with Ronaldo's words echoing in her mind, she vowed to seize that opportunity with both hands and never look back. The news of Ronaldo's extraordinary generosity and the events that had transpired at the restaurant spread like wildfire. By the following morning, the story had made headlines across the city, with news outlets and social media abuzz with details of the footballer's $10,000 tip and his powerful message about respect and human dignity. As the public learned of Mr. Lambert's discriminatory treatment of his employees, particularly Anna, outrage grew. People from all walks of life took to social media to express their disgust and disappointment, calling for a boycott of the restaurant and demanding that Mr. Lambert be held accountable for his actions. The restaurant's owners, faced with an onslaught of negative publicity and the threat of losing business, had no choice but to take swift action. They released a statement condemning Mr. Lambert's behavior and announcing his immediate termination. "We at this establishment do not condone or tolerate any form of discrimination or mistreatment of our employees," the statement read. "Mr. Lambert's actions are entirely unacceptable and do not reflect our values as a company. We sincerely apologize to Anna and to all of our staff who have been subjected to his behavior, and we vow to do better in the future." For Anna, the public support and the restaurant's response were a validation of everything she had endured. She had spent so long feeling powerless and unheard, but now, thanks to Ronaldo, her story had been brought to light and people were rallying behind her. With newfound confidence and the financial security provided by Ronaldo's generous tip, Anna made the decision to leave the restaurant and start anew. She knew that she deserved better than to be treated as less than human, and she was determined to find a workplace where her hard work and dedication would be appreciated and respected. As she packed up her belongings and said goodbye to her fellow servers, many of whom had become close friends, Anna felt a sense of bittersweet pride. She knew that she was making the right choice for herself and her future, but she also knew that she would miss the camaraderie and support of her colleagues. However, she also knew that her story had inspired change, not just within the restaurant, but across the city. People were talking about the importance of treating service workers with dignity and respect, and businesses were taking note. In the days and weeks that followed, Anna found herself inundated with job offers from restaurants and establishments that had been moved by her story. They saw in her a dedicated and compassionate employee who embodied the very best of the service industry, and they were eager to have her join their teams. After much consideration, Anna accepted a position at a renowned restaurant known for its commitment to employee well-being and customer satisfaction. As she stepped through the doors on her first day, she was greeted with warm smiles and open arms. Her new manager, a kind and empathetic woman named Laura, took the time to sit down with Anna and listen to her story. She assured her that in this workplace, every employee was valued and respected, regardless of their background or position. For Anna, it was a dream come true. She had finally found a place where she could thrive, where her hard work and dedication would be recognized and celebrated. And as she settled into her new role, she knew that she had Ronaldo to thank for giving her the courage and the means to start this new chapter in her life. As Anna thrived in her new job, her story continued to make waves across the city and beyond. People were inspired by her courage and resilience in the face of adversity, and many saw her as a symbol of hope for all those who had been mistreated or undervalued in their workplaces. News outlets clamored for interviews with Anna, eager to hear her story in her own words. At first, she was hesitant to step into the spotlight, preferring to focus on her work and her family. But as she thought about the impact her story could have on others who were facing similar struggles, she knew that she had a responsibility to speak out. With the support of her new colleagues and her loved ones, Anna began to share her experiences more widely. She spoke about the challenges of being an immigrant working in the service industry, the daily discrimination and mistreatment she had faced, and the toll it had taken on her mental health and well-being. But she also spoke about the power of kindness and empathy, and how a single act of generosity from a stranger had changed her life forever. She urged people to treat service workers with respect and dignity, and to recognize the hard work and dedication that they put into their jobs every day. As Anna's message spread, she began to receive letters and messages from people all over the world who had been touched by her story. Some were service workers themselves, sharing their own experiences of mistreatment and discrimination. Others were customers who had been moved to reflect on their own behavior and attitudes towards those in the service industry. One letter, in particular, stood out to Anna. It was from a young woman named Maria, who worked as a cleaner in a large corporate office building. Maria wrote about how she had been struggling with depression and anxiety due to the constant belittlement and harassment she faced from her supervisor, who treated her as if she were invisible. But after reading Anna's story, Maria had found the courage to speak up and report her supervisor's behavior to HR. The company had launched an investigation and, ultimately, fired the supervisor for his actions. Maria wrote to thank Anna for giving her the strength and inspiration to stand up for herself and demand the respect she deserved. As Anna read Maria's words, tears streamed down her face. She knew all too well the pain and isolation of feeling trapped in a toxic work environment, and she was deeply moved to know that her story had helped someone else find the courage to break free. With renewed purpose, Anna continued to speak out and advocate for change. She partnered with local organizations and advocacy groups to raise awareness about the rights of service workers and the importance of creating safe and equitable workplaces. And as her platform grew, so too did the impact of her message. Restaurants and businesses across the city began to reevaluate their own practices and policies, looking for ways to create more supportive and inclusive environments for their employees. For Anna, it was a testament to the power of one person's voice to make a difference. She knew that change wouldn't happen overnight, but she also knew that every step forward was a victory, no matter how small. And as she looked back on her journey, from the darkest days at the restaurant to the bright future that lay ahead, she knew that she had Ronaldo to thank for setting her on this path. His act of kindness and generosity had been the catalyst for a transformation that had not only changed her life, but had the potential to change the lives of countless others. With a heart full of gratitude and a spirit full of determination, Anna continued to push forward, knowing that she was part of something bigger than herself. And as she did, she held on to the hope that one day, every worker will be treated with the respect and dignity they deserved, no matter their background or position. Years passed, and Anna's advocacy work continued to grow and evolve. She became a respected leader in the fight for workers' rights, sought out by policymakers, business leaders, and media outlets alike for her insights and expertise. Through her tireless efforts, she helped to shape new laws and regulations aimed at protecting service workers from discrimination and abuse. She worked with businesses to develop training programs and best practices for creating safe and equitable workplaces. And she mentored countless individuals who had faced similar struggles, helping them to find their own voices and advocate for change. But even as her work took her to new heights, Anna never forgot the man who had set her on this path. She often thought of Ronaldo and the kindness he had shown her that fateful night at the restaurant. She wondered if he knew just how much his actions had meant to her, and how they had changed the course of her life forever. One day, as Anna was preparing for a keynote speech at a major conference on workers' rights, she received a surprise visit from a familiar face. There, standing in the doorway of her office, was none other than Cristiano Ronaldo himself. Anna's eyes widened in shock as she rose to greet him, hardly able to believe that the man who had inspired her journey was standing before her once again. "Mr. Ronaldo," she said, her voice trembling with emotion, "I can't believe you're here. I wanted to thank you for so long, for everything you did for me that night at the restaurant. Your kindness and generosity changed my life in ways I never could have imagined." Ronaldo smiled warmly, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Anna," he said, taking her hand in his, "it is I who should be thanking you. What you have accomplished in the years since that night is nothing short of remarkable. You have become a true leader and an inspiration to so many people. Anna felt tears welling up in her eyes as she listened to his words. She had never sought recognition or praise for her work, but to hear it from the man who had set her on this path was a validation unlike any other. "I only did what I knew was right," she said softly. "You showed me that every person has the power to make a difference, no matter their background or circumstances. You gave me the courage to fight for what I believed in and to stand up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves." Ronaldo nodded, his expression one of deep understanding. "That is the true power of kindness and empathy," he said. "It has the ability to transform lives and inspire others to do the same. You have taken that lesson and run with it, Anna, and in doing so, you have made the world a better place." As they spoke, Anna and Ronaldo found themselves reminiscing about that night at the restaurant and the journey that had brought them to this moment. They talked about the challenges they had faced, the obstacles they had overcome, and the moments of joy and triumph that had made it all worthwhile. And as they parted ways, each to continue their own work in the world, they did so with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. They knew that the fight for justice and equality was far from over, but they also knew that they were not alone in that fight. For Anna, the knowledge that she had the support and admiration of a man like Ronaldo was a source of strength and inspiration. She knew that she would carry his words and his example with her always, as she continued to fight for a world where every person was treated with the respect and dignity they deserved. And for Ronaldo, the knowledge that his small act of kindness had rippled out into the world in such a profound way was a reminder of the true power of empathy and compassion. He knew that he would continue to use his platform and his influence to uplift others and inspire change, just as he had done for Anna all those years ago. Together, they had proven that true greatness is not measured by wealth or fame, but by the impact one has on the lives of others. And as they went their separate ways, each carrying that lesson in their hearts, they knew that they would continue to make a difference, one small act of kindness at a time. As the years went by, Anna's legacy continued to grow. Her tireless advocacy work had sparked a global movement for workers' rights, inspiring people from all walks of life to stand up against discrimination and fight for fair treatment in the workplace. Her story had become a touchstone for a generation of activists and changemakers, a powerful reminder of the impact that one person's courage and determination could have on the world. And through it all, Anna remained humble and dedicated to her cause, always putting the needs of others before her own. Ronaldo, too, continued to use his platform and influence for good. He partnered with organizations and charities around the world, using his resources and his fame to support a wide range of social and humanitarian causes. And whenever he spoke about the importance of kindness and empathy, he always thought back to that night at the restaurant and the brave young woman who had inspired him to be a better person. As fate would have it, Anna and Ronaldo's paths crossed again many years later at a gala event celebrating the progress that had been made in the fight for workers' rights. As they stood together on stage, each reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment, they knew that their lives had been forever changed by the power of a single act of kindness. For Anna, that act had been the catalyst that had set her on a path of purpose and meaning, empowering her to become a voice for the voiceless and a champion for the oppressed. And for Ronaldo, it had been a reminder of the true meaning of greatness and the responsibility that came with having a platform and an influence. As they looked out at the sea of faces before them, each person representing a life that had been touched by their work, Anna and Ronaldo knew that their legacy would live on long after they were gone. They had shown the world that every person, no matter their background or circumstances, had the power to make a difference, and that true change started with a single act of compassion and understanding. And so, as the gala drew to a close and the attendees began to disperse, Anna and Ronaldo lingered for a moment, savoring the feeling of accomplishment and pride that washed over them. They had come so far from that fateful night at the restaurant, but they knew that their journey was far from over. For as long as there were people in need, as long as there were injustices to be fought and wrongs to be righted, they would continue to push forward, to lead by example, and to inspire others to do the same. They were living proof that one person's actions, no matter how small, could change the world, and they were determined to make the most of every moment they had been given. As they parted ways once more, each returning to their own lives and their own work, Anna and Ronaldo carried with them the knowledge that they were part of something much larger than themselves. They were part of a movement, a global community of people who believed in the power of compassion and the dignity of every human being.
And told the road ahead would be long and the challenges many, they knew that they would face them together, united in their commitment to making the world a better place, one small act of kindness at a time. For that was the true legacy of Anna and Ronaldo, the lesson that they had learned and the message that they hope to pass on to generations to come. that in a world too often divided by hatred and fear, it was the simple acts of love and understanding that had the power to heal, to unite, and to transform. And as long as there were people willing to stand up for what was right, as long as there were those who believed in the goodness of the human spirit, that legacy would endure, as shining beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needed it.